Hey everybody, welcome. Your saltwater guide. We're back in beautiful Cabo San Lucas, hanging out with Marley and my beautiful wife Kelly, and we have a great show for you guys today. We got some really good friends of mine. The three of us have known each other for a very long time. So I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this show. You're going to get to learn a lot about McCarty Yacht Sales. You're going to get to learn a lot about John, and then you all know everything you could possibly know about Todd, but he's going to be with us too now that he's back with McCarty Yacht Sales and also Manson Marine. So it's going to be a great show. But first off, let's thank Deckhand Sports. Dave Farron and the gang over at Deckhand Sports has been a huge supporter of your saltwater guide for a very long time, and the industry of sport fishing. My goodness, like Todd was telling me at the Lady Anglers Banquet, every bag was something to do with Deckhand Sports. Same with when we go to the PCS show. Same with when I went out to ICAST. Dave has made a huge footprint in the industry. And if you guys haven't checked it all out yet, we're going to show you a cool little video a little later on in the show. And you guys can check that out. And then, gang, during this presentation with John and Todd, you guys can ask questions about selling your yacht or buying a yacht or what they think the best boat for you to get is. Yeah, they would love to sell you that boat and they would love to help you find that boat. But the thing about these guys is they're super honest and super fair. You will hurt their feelings dramatically if you buy the boat from someone else, but they're going to tell you what boat to get and what boat not to get. So we'll get into that all with them now. Hey, Matt, good to see you. I'm back. Hope you're keeping the streets of Long Beach safe. Let's bring in John and Todd and get this thing started, Elliot. John,
hey guys,
Todd, welcome.
Hi,
hey
Dave.
guys,
welcome back to Cabo.
Hi, Dave. Great to see you, man. Great to see you.
Good to see you, Johnny.
Absolutely. Back in. It's been a long time, hasn't it? We've probably known each other for what, 35, 40 years now from the fishing industry, and we were both running boats, and here we are, fast forward 40 years later, and we're still doing it just like you, buddy.
Yeah, Johnny Mac had a boat called the Fin Fever, and him and I fished that yellowfin tuna side by side. You, me, and Tom Paterno. Todd, I think, was harpooning swordfish on the Cypolurus back then. So, so we were doing it out there. When no one else was running six-packs, Johnny was out there running six-packs on the Fin Fever. I didn't even know what a six-pack boat was.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of started that whole deal back in the day. I mean, you know, Todd with the Captain Hooks
I was on
program,
the Captain Hook too.
And you know, Tom Paterno on the Limitless and us on the Fin Fever. And we were, I think Joe Bering was around with the bongos. That was kind of it. And it's really taken off since, and it's morphed into all kinds of different boats and whatnot. But it's a force today. There's a lot of charter boats. Those were great. We did that for what, 20 years?
Yeah, we did it for a long time. We were the first, when I was on the Captain Hook too, and you were on the Fin Fever, and Paterno was on the Limitless, and Joe having the bongos. We were the only boats where you could get on board at 5 o'clock in the morning and be fishing San Clemente Island, catching yellows, or even out, fishing the 43 or the butterfly, catching albacore, and be back at the dock, between 5 and 7 o'clock the same day. Nobody had ever done that before. Right. And now, like John was just saying, it's morphed into something so much more. Now there's guys that can go 100 miles leaving out of San Diego and put you on 3 or 4 tuna and 5, limits, whatever. It's just changed so much from where it was. I mean, when Dave was running the Seahorse and I was on the Cypolurus, people up here didn't even think of looking under Common Dolphin for yellowfin tuna. Me and Dave and Chris Goebel and Donnie Brockman would just laugh our heads off. We'd be out there just knocking the crap out of these yellowfin under the dolphin. And the thing about it is there was no other option. You either came out with me and Dave, or you went out with Brockman or one of the party boats, or you didn't go out at all. You didn't see, a network, where people could go and find places to fish. You didn't have all these different 4-packs and 6-pack boat options. You bought a ticket and you went out with the best guys in the industry, And the thing about it back then was the same guy ran the same trip every day. So that, Harmon ran the 3/4 day out of Dana Wharf on the Clemente. I ran the Polaris. Dave ran the Seahorse, and we ran the same runs. And so you could choose your captains that way. And then it morphed into the 6-pack boats where you're choosing your captain, and now you're choosing your boat. Like, you're getting on some fast boats. And that was a neat time, huh, Johnny?
Oh, it was an awesome time. And I was back in the days when fuel wasn't quite what it is today, price-wise, and we just ran.
Yeah.
We just ran balls to the wall as hard as we could.
A dollar a gallon. I remember paying $1 a gallon back then, 97, 98, $1 a gallon, $1.10, $1.20.
Yeah.
We didn't even think about it.
I remember it being as low as like 65 cents a gallon. It was that cheap when I first got into the industry, and today it's a different world for sure. And it's morphed into these, go fast center consoles and whatnot. Our boats were cost a lot more to operate, but they're bigger and way more comfortable. And it was a great time to be in that industry for sure.
And look at the three of us now. I mean, you look at what David has done and how hugely he supports the industry. Where you and I have morphed into understanding the industry's potential for a lifetime career, and how you have to make these different steps and wear these different hats to get to these different places. And now, we're managing, multiple boats, large boats. We're successful running a yacht sales group that has a tremendous reputation because we come from a different breed of cat.
Absolutely.
Well, what I wanted to talk to John about here real quick, Todd, is John was ahead of both of us when you left the 6-pack and you started running private yachts, but you thought about this so far out in front of everybody else. You took your skill and everything, and then you started McCarty Yacht Sales, which none of us thought about selling boats. We just thought about driving them into the ground. We didn't think about selling them. Were you coming from let's be honest, most guys that are selling boats have never even driven a boat, and they're selling them. Here comes John.
Yeah, it was interesting how I got involved in that, because back in the day, when I got off the sport boats, right, the Thunderbird and the Freelance and those boats, when I was a young kid, I bought the Fin Fever, the charter boat, and I did yacht management as well, right? So we were doing repairs for clients' boats, and that's how that whole thing started. People would come out on the Fin Fever, and they'd be like, "I love this. I want to buy a boat." Or somebody that I worked for, as far as repairs on their boat, they're like, "Hey, I'm upgrading my boat." And they kept complaining. I kept hearing the same thing. They were complaining about brokers. Brokers didn't know anything about boats. They were just trying to sell like a used car salesman. And ultimately, I was asked to go out on a couple of these boat sales, so to speak, as kind of a surveyor or an expert witness, because the people trusted me. And ultimately, that's how this whole thing started some 35 years ago. And I ended up getting my license, and here I am today. So we've been doing it a long time, and we've learned a lot, and we keep growing every day. Love it.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with the whole situation. Like I said, when I watched you evolve into a yacht salesman, besides the fact that you're running that big, beautiful yacht all the time, you're also, and we'll talk about that yacht in a little bit, because that thing's a beautiful machine and you do a great job. But then all of a sudden you're selling yachts and driving yachts. There's no one better to buy a yacht from than someone that's driving yachts. And when I say that, gang, when I tell you most of the brokerages houses in Southern California, most of those people that work there have never even been on a yacht, let alone taking care of a yacht. They're great car salesmen. They're phenomenal salespeople. But the moment you buy the boat, that's probably the last time you're going to hear from that person, which is kind of sad. When you go over to McCarty Yacht Sales, not only is he going to help you get the right boat, but John's not abandoning you at the end. And that's pretty much why Todd's with him now, is because there's so much potential with what you guys are doing and the beautiful yachts that you're selling, the follow through is what I'm the most impressed with. John, can you talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely. I mean, I really believe that the service begins after the sale. And, you know, a lot of our clients become lifelong friends, and that's ultimately what we're looking for. Everybody that works at McCarty Yacht Group is a maritime professional. They're all licensed captains, mechanics, maritime or marine mechanics. They're all very, very talented people that have a whole list of clients that they bring to the table. And collectively now, I think we have about 10 guys that work for us. It has morphed into something pretty special. And you know, bringing Todd on was kind of the icing on the cake. We've known each other for years and years and years. When he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm interested in sales and I want to get my license," I jumped at that opportunity, and just can't be happier than that to have him aboard with us. It's just been a great experience, and it's growing daily, and we love it.
Hey, one of my good friends, Matt's asking a question, and I'm going to answer it first, and then you can finish it up. Johnny, there's Johnny's yacht that he runs. That thing is beautiful. But Matt wants to know, are boats cheaper if you buy them in Florida? Well, I guarantee you they are today.
Yeah.
You guys saw what just happened. There's a phenomenal amount of yachts sitting in people's front yards right now.
Yeah, again.
When you guys think about this, when you buy a yacht in Florida, how long was that boat underwater? Because 99% of the yachts that are in Florida have been underwater in some way or another when those hurricanes come barreling through there, gang. So you got to take a close, hard look. That's why you want, if you're going to buy a yacht, you want to grab John or you want to grab Todd and you want to put them on an airplane with you and fly them over there so they can go walk through it with you. It's important. It's super important. Not that the guys in Florida aren't honest, but the guys in Florida are trying to sell that boat. So there may be things they're not going to actually show you. So what do you think of that, John? Am I correct, or am I just kind of over talking?
You're 100% correct. And quite honestly, you know, the salesman over there, it's a bigger fishbowl over there. There's a lot more boats. There's a lot more brokers, and they're all in competition trying to sell boats. And at the end of the day, if you don't have the correct representation, you can get hurt over there for sure. And when I say the correct representation, I'm talking about myself or a Todd Manser, Chris Roop, you know, guys that really know what they're doing, that will be there, will go through the boat, and then we'll also get you the right surveyors so that we know that the boat, they can, you know, the surveyors come in and they're the kind of expert witnesses, right? And they go through the whole boat, and we can find out the history of a lot of these boats and find out what kind of claims have been presented, what kind of damage, if damage has occurred, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff. And you don't get that over there with those brokers. They sell boats and move on, especially if the boat's coming back to the West Coast. They just sell them and they're done with you.
I can't believe you got Blockhead working for you now. Look at that.
Yeah. He's been with us a long time. You know. Yeah, he used to be our night driver on the Fin Fever, and he did night driving for us and did night driving for Tom as well. He went back and forth from boat to boat to boat, and you know, so I've known him for 40 years or something like that, and then he moved on and started running private yachts as well, and then came to McCarty Yacht Group and has been successful, sold some boats, and he's still doing good. So he's with us.
Nice. Yeah, Blockhead's cool. That's the yacht Johnny Mac drives. There it is. You're up in Alaska in that picture, right?
Yeah, that's an Alaska photo for sure. Drone shot. Yeah, it's a great boat. And those were clients, those, you know, and it's interesting how things work. Those were clients of mine, both from the repair side of things, because they owned their own boats, and they also used to charter the Fin Fever. And one day, the owner, the senior, was out with us on the Fin Fever in rough weather, fishing tuna, and he was like, "I think I want to get back in. I want to buy another boat." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want to buy?" He had a 46 Bertram, and he goes, "I think I want to buy a 48 Cabo. And I said, well, you know, Mike, I think honestly, I think that's a lateral move. I think you need to move up. You need a bigger boat. And he goes, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Show me one. And I ended up finding that boat. And I said, this boat's a diamond in the rough. It's super well built. We need to do some refit work to it to make it right for us. But once done, you're going to love this boat. And here we are 21 years later. They still own the boat and they love it. And we use it all the time. And it's, you know, we've been from Alaska to Panama and, you know, multiple times, and just keeps on going.
And then that picture right there, the bottom one, that's the CLMR, right?
Yeah, it's a CLMR getting loaded up to be transported home.
That's my oldest son's godfather runs that boat, gang. That's Jose Angulo's yacht. He's a pretty bitching dude. But that's what you get over at McCarty Yacht Sales. And then having Todd Manser involved over there with Manser Marine, it's just it can be a better fit, right, Johnny?
No, absolutely. And like I said, you know, Todd and I have a very special relationship, and we get along great. And we communicate multiple times every day. And, you know, when you get one, you get both. Quite honestly, it's been a great marriage, and we're happy to have Todd, and just looking forward to the future, because it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, Johnny and I, every morning we check in with each other. I'd say 7 days a week. Every morning I wake up. I do my hygiene. I kiss my lovely wife, and then I call Johnny, and we go over our game plan, because we've got a lot going on. We've had a lot of success coming from your Saltwater Guide. We have a lot of accounts and clients that are followers of your Saltwater Guide, and they're able to find us through this this website, through Dave's podcast, through Dave's advertising, through everything that Saltwater Guide does and Elliot does. And so every morning we're talking over the game plan. We communicate. I mean, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, John and I communicate. We never ghost our clients. We communicate as quickly and as accurately as we possibly can. We have boats in contract, and we're getting ready to close on boats. It gets into crunch time where we're really working hard to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And I mean, there's nights where John and I, the last person I talk to and the first person I talk to every day is John. And, you know, we're making sure that we're providing something different for our clients than anybody else can provide. First of all, we're trying to make sure that a buyer is buying the right boat for them. Because of what we've done our whole life, it doesn't make any sense for us to ruin our reputation and push somebody on something that's for sale because they're a kid in a candy store and they just want to buy something. Rather than do that, we want to make sure to find them the right boat. We bring in and make sure to represent them in every way possible so that they get something that they're going to be in love with and come back time after time to use us for repair work, for management work, and to sell and buy new boats as they progress in their love for the ocean and boating. And so for John and I, you know, we're very big on communication. In fact, we're finishing up a sale right now on a boat, and the number one thing that the seller has been so grateful for is our communication skills. If they send us something, if it's an email, if it's a text, if it's a phone call, it's immediately getting a response. We try not to let anybody hang waiting for an answer, waiting for an update. We try to communicate. And being that we're so involved in management and repair, and our Rolodex of the people that we know in this industry is just absolutely through the roof. And so our follow-up is incredible. And that's what's going to make McCarty Yacht Group so successful and so different than your corporate yacht sales groups here.
So real quick, Johnny, we're going to go back talk about the CLMR in a minute. Todd, we love all that you do for all of our members and everything. I want to show you guys a quick video real quick. Deckhand Sports put this together for us exclusively for your saltwater guide, and then we'll tell you about your discount you get. Check this out. Johnny, check that bag out. Todd's seen it a couple times, but you ran a lot of yachts over your life.
That bag is super cool. I love that bag, and I love the ribs that they put in there. That they're almost like, it's almost like stability for the bag, but also it helps separate ice, helps separate the fish. And when fish go into ice, they have to be kept. They have to be cooled down rapidly. And when hot fish or warm fish are touching each other and there's no ice in there, that's a bad deal. And this helps separate all that. That's a cool bag. Love that.
Absolutely. Dave has done a great job of designing these bags and making these bags so that, because Dave's a fisherman, you know, he's constantly looking at the performance of these bags. His zippers, everything is superior to, you know, all. Can I say kill bag, Dave?
Yes, that's what the word we use.
Kill bag. For a kill bag, the way that he's thought out, you know, clips and tie downs, you know, so that they can be put in different, you know, areas of your boat without being in the way. Truly impressed. And there we're showing pictures of him right now. And he's also a huge supporter of our industry. He's the first guy to shake your hand, fist bump you, and talk to you at the shows. He's very supportive in all of our benefits, from CCA, from all of our angling clubs, the lady anglers. He's there to support. And he's not doing it just to push product. He's doing it because he loves our industry. And he's done a great job on these bags, as it shows right here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
and we're going to utilize the heck out of those bags during lobster season. The backpack dry bags that you can put on your back. I was carrying salmon out of the river up there in Alaska with the bags. We put 7 lobsters in there. The backpack, there it is, right there. It's an incredible. It's just so bitchin', and everything's leak proof. He guarantees you it won't leak. And sometimes one will slip through the cracks. He's right there to go. Give me that bag back. Here's a new one. No questions asked. They don't play any games over there. It's just a great, great company. And I'm so happy to call Dave a friend. Yep. Wherever we are, we always shake each other's hands. It's just been an honor to have you as part of the website, Dave. And I know you're watching right now. So Todd Manser owned a fish market since he was a little kid. His family owns John's Fish Market in Dana Point Harbor. So he knows about keeping fish fresh. And Todd loves your bag, Dave.
Absolutely. It's a well thought out bag across the board. Like I said, for protecting the fish. Fish can easily get bruised. They can be cooled down improperly. This allows you to have the right bag. So if you don't have a refrigeration system on your boat, you can stack a layer of ice, a layer of fish, layer of ice, and then having that rib section in there. I think that's great, especially for heavier fish, because it's going to keep them from getting all bruised up by the ice. It's going to work really, really well.
Yeah. So
100%.
We're going to throw the QR code up there on the screen, gang. You can check it out. You can go over there and save 15%. Those of you that are listening on Spotify, Apple, and Mega, you guys put in the code YSWG and the number 15 when you're on the Deckhand Sports website, deckhandsports.com. You'll be able to see all the products. It's just we can talk. It would take the whole show, and we'll bring Dave on and we'll talk about the products here later on down the line. But we got a lot to talk about with John and Todd, but check out his website. Go over there. But Matt Ryan has a great question, John. Do you only work with millionaires?
No, I do not. But what I will tell you is we don't do much in the way of sailboats. We are fishermen, and we deal with
Yes.
private. Well, we deal with yachts, right? And we don't do a whole lot of trailable boats. We do some, but the majority of our
Yep.
boats are anywhere from 30 to 100 feet, slightly bigger.
Yep.
Sometimes.
And some of my clients at Manser Marine are in, small, 30 foot, 30, I have a 31 Express at Manser Marine. I have a 27 Pursuit. I have some smaller, boats that I manage. The one thing that I don't do at Manser Marine is I don't just take calls to go fix anybody's boat. With Manser Marine, in order for me to come down and service your boat and keep it in turnkey operation, you have to become a member of Manser Marine, and that's a monthly charge, but it gets 2 monthly services where we come and inspect the boat from stem to stern, build a checklist of your boat, give you a checklist, have you authorize it. It's a great way. And as far as sales go, guys, Johnny and I can help you if you're trying to finance a boat, try to find something that's in your means. Heck yeah, we're going to work with you. You don't have to be a millionaire, even though living in California, you technically are a millionaire, just by definition and being able to afford to live here. But there's a lot of ways that we can help, guys that are trying to find a boat within their means. There's not a lot of small boat sales, that we do as far as listings. I would say, Johnny, how would you describe that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the smaller boat listings, the 20-foot skipjacks and the small center consoles and boats like that tend to sell better on places like Boat Trader and sell personal, privately, right? They don't. A lot of those guys don't want to pay the commissions that are paid to us, and so we tend to stick with the boats that are in the 30-foot range or bigger. But hey, we'll work with anybody, and we'll always give you honest information. If you call us
and we'll always answer the
you
phone.
tell me you've got. Yeah, we'll always answer the phone. We'll always communicate with you, and we'll give you the best advice we can, right? If somebody calls me with a 24-foot skipjack and says, I want to sell this, and it's a $20,000 boat, I'm going to tell them how to sell it. Doesn't mean it's going to be through us, but I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Right. I'm doing that right now for a client.
That's what I was going to say, gang. If you have a boat you want to sell, don't not reach out to Johnny or Todd. Reach out to them and find out what it's going to take to sell the boat. The last thing they want you to do is get ripped off. That's what we kind of stand behind. Myself, Todd, John, we want to just help you because we want to keep you in the industry. And what the three of us have learned over time is that there's a lot of scumbags in this industry. There's a lot of shady people that cause people to get out of the industry. So make McCarty Yacht Sales your first call. Make Todd Manser your first call. Always talk to somebody. You can get a hold of these guys. Their phone number is available. We post about them all the time on our website. We've always on all our social media. These guys are real. They stand behind what they say. There's not a lot of people that are going to follow up. And I don't understand the industry in that sense where they don't follow up. And once they made the sale, you never get a hold of the guy again. He doesn't take your calls. It just blows my mind. But I think, and I'm going to be honest for a minute, I think it's because they really don't know what the heck they're doing. So they can't really add much to it. Once they got your money, they're done with you. They don't want to show you that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And a lot of them just can't deal with the stress afterwards. If there's an issue, if there's a problem, the most successful people in the world are the people that are capable of dealing with the high stress situations of running a company. And we just recently had a sale of a boat with a wonderful client, absolutely beautiful boat. Everything went smoothly, happy sale. I mean, this was a wonderful transaction. And the first day he had the boat out, and we'd had it serviced, we had everything done. His first day, he goes out and the boat had issues. Now, it turned out that it was just when we had the boat serviced by one of our favorite technicians, there was just a few things. Actually, there was one thing. It was a fuel filter wasn't properly reinstalled. But the boat had moved from here to San Diego. The owner called me that day. Hey, I'm 3 miles out. I don't know what to do. This engine's not running well. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can take care of this right now. He kept calling. I answered every call. Because of who we are and how we represent ourselves, I was able to get my technician to drive to San Diego, who's an absolute amazing tech in the outboard world. And I'm gonna tell you, at Pacific Outboards, Josh is the best. Josh drove down there, figured out that little fuel line situation, and fixed it. Most guys would have just told these guys, "Hey, I don't know, call." There's got to be a couple guys in San Diego, if they even take the call. But we're not that group. I'm going to take the call. I'm going to be stressed out of my mind because I want to make sure that it's fixed. And that's called having a conscience. It's not being stressed or worried. It's the conscience in me that makes sure that I want this to be, this was the right boat for this client. He couldn't believe it. The next morning he says, Todd, Josh showed up. He got everything all dialed in. It was really simple, but you handled it. You stood behind it. You answered every call and every text. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, let's go back to John for a little bit.
Integrity.
Yeah, integrity is the key. But Johnny Mac, you were ahead of all of us when you started McCarty Yacht Sales. And we showed a picture of a really bitchin' yacht a little bit ago, the Cielo Mar. What did you have to do with that? Tell everybody how big that thing is, what it's all about. It's an amazing yacht.
So that's the original Cielo Mari. That's a 98 queen ship, and it's been since sold. I sold the boat for them probably 7 or 8 years ago when they built their latest edition, which is 127. But this boat here is a 98 queen ship, and it's now called the Primetime, I believe. And it's a cool, just a great boat. And but their new boat is really spectacular. It's an incredible build and a beautiful boat. But look at this boat in particular. This thing looks like it's doing 30 to the dock. It's just beautiful lines. Great. It's a great platform. It's got great power. It's fast, and it's just a beautiful boat. And when we put that boat together, that was one of the more challenging sales we've had. I've never seen a buyer irritate a seller as much as this guy did, but he was either a master negotiator or he just was lucky. But regardless, it took us almost 7 months to put that deal together, but we got it done, and it was a great experience at the end of it all. And the boat's still out cruising around doing what it does best, catching fish.
Yeah. Roger. The funny thing about the Cielo Mar and the new boat, the old boat, Jose Angulo's the captain, and those guys basically get to go. The crew gets to go fish wherever they want to fish. They bring the owner's husband out on the boat. She very rarely even comes on the boat. That's basically Jose's toy to go fishing. And once in a while, the owner will come on the boat. It's you guys, you can't even comprehend what's going on. It's the weirdest situation. But what about your boat?
You're showing the boat I'm on, the Pescatori, is one more time.
The boat you're on, the Pescatori. Talk about that boat for a minute, because I know that boat wasn't pristine when you got on it.
No, it was. It was a beautiful boat when we bought it, but it was not necessarily built for West Coast fishing, right? And so when we got on the boat, it was owned by a guy named Tony Marnell, who basically owns Las Vegas and is one of the big builders that built all the hotels and whatnot. And he built a new boat called the Mea Culpa. So this boat came on the market, and when I saw the boat, It's a little over 100 feet. And when I first saw the boat, I'm like, this could be a good fit. And I think there's a deal to be had on this boat, because I knew that Tony Marnell was building his new boat and needed to get rid of it. And so we went and saw the boat, and Mike loved the boat and said, let's make a run at it. And we did. And we ended up buying the boat, $1 million cheaper than expected. And one thing that I always say to my clients is, hey, any boat that we buy, use the boat for 3 to 6 months as is. And I mean, make sure it's seaworthy, it's safe. We've got all the little things taken care of, the bilge pumps and all the emergency systems and whatnot. But let's use the boat for 3 to 6 months. And then you're going to know what changes you need to make. And so that's what we did. We used the boat for 6 months. We went to Cabo. We did this, we did that. And then I gave them a complete punch list as to what I thought the boat needed to make it right for our usage. And they supported it. And we went to the boatyard, and I ran that project, and we did that refit. It was a better part of a year to do the work, but the boat came out awesome. And I mean, we went through this whole boat, from the new sonar to the bulbous bow to give us some lift in the bow that it needed, anchoring systems, pulpits, repainted the whole boat, changed the cockpit, changed the bait systems. We made it what it is today. And like I said, here we are 21 years later, and we're using the boat all the time, and they love the boat. And it's proven to be a really capable boat. And I trust that boat. I'd go anywhere in that boat. We're not going to get there real fast, but we're going to get there. And it's a great rig. That boat's currently sitting right now.
The reason why I had you talk about that is I wanted everybody to understand that not only are you a broker, you sell boats, but you know how to put together the boat to be the best it could possibly be for the clientele, which is what it's all about.
Right.
And then the follow through with you and the follow through with Todd, you can't buy that, gang. You can't go get that from any brokerage house. So I wanted people to understand that Johnny puts his heart and soul into whatever project he's on. That boat is a beautiful machine. I've been on it with you in Cabo, and I know my buddy Rick Dosberg spent a lot of time cruising around with you on that thing. He loves that boat.
Right.
I know you love that boat. That boat's beautiful, but it wasn't beautiful. It takes a lot to make them beautiful, gang. And when you talk to guys like Todd and John, you're going to get the real answers of what it's going to take. They're not playing hide the ball. The easiest part of this thing, buying a boat, is buying the boat. That's the easiest part. After that, that's when the real stuff happens. That's when Johnny Mac comes into play. When you pick up the phone, you go, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like Johnny's telling you, wait, take a deep breath. Let's go drive the boat for a few months, and let's make sure we want that Omni sonar. You might not even need a $100,000 sonar. Let's just figure out what you're trying to accomplish, gang. Johnny Mac and Todd would be more than happy to get that commission selling that, but they don't want you to buy stuff you don't need. Just like me over here at your Saltwater Guide. The last thing I want you guys to do is buy something you don't need and then call me later and go, why'd you make me buy that?
Right. Our reputation is everything. Our Johnny Mac, John McCarty, Todd Manser, Manser Marine, McCarty Yacht Group is really about a brand of a reputation of 40 years of being honest, hardworking individuals in the marine environment. And one sale isn't going to put me through the rest of my life. So it's very important that every sale be treated as if, it could be potentially 10 sales. And because of that, you work hard, you pay attention to the details, and you work off your reputation. So at the end of the day, people are looking back and going, Todd, thank you. You did everything right from the way it was surveyed, the contract, the closing, putting my boat into an LLC, transferring the LLC, everything all together. We want to make sure that at the end we get a 5-star rating. It's because it's all about reputation, and especially here on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you've got thousands of guys trying to reach into the same cookie jar, And here, you've got a limited amount of groups that are selling boats because we're on the West Coast, and you want to make sure that you pick the best ones. And those are going to be the guys that really are working hard to protect their reputation. And that provides good, hard, honest work.
Absolutely. Gonzalez, you absolutely save 15% on every item over at Deckhand Sports. It's not just the kill bags, it's every item. And we're going to get back with Johnny and Todd. I want to talk about something. Tonight at 6 o'clock is opening night of lobster season, gang. And ProMar's got a deal, ambush the season. If all you got to do is take a picture and post it on Instagram of you with a lobster in your ambush net, and you're going to get entered into the contest. And every month, ProMar is going to give away $500 worth of product. And if you want an extra $50, be wearing one of my shirts or one of my hats and take the picture, post it on your Instagram page, but you have to hashtag on your Instagram page ProMar 2024, and then you're going to get to watch, and you're going to get to be winning that contest. Plus your post pictures are going to go everywhere. This was me yesterday in the ProMar. I did so much stuff in the last 3 weeks, you can't even imagine. I went up to ProMar, Todd, and I shot 32 commercials in 2.5 hours. They couldn't even.
Wow.
They couldn't. Wow. They're like, how do you do that? Well, I know what I'm talking about.
With all the stuff laying on it, you can't store it. When you're done at the end of the night, you simply unclip the buoy, then you unclip the hoop net, you wrap your line up, you throw the line in the duffel bag, you throw this in the other duffel bag, and then you have your bait tubes that are in here. I undo those, I clean them out in the bait tank, get them all clean. Those go in a 5-gallon bucket. I have 10 of them. I have 2 5.
Crazy.
Yep. It's so funny that you said that, because I have one of my clients is getting ready for the season. He says, Todd, how do I overcome having to bundle up my line when I'm fishing really shallow and tying it all up? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, use some sort of clip. I like good carabiners, and if you put a carabiner on the hoop net and take and do a loop through your buoy so that you've got a nice loop to attach to. You put a carabiner there, and then you have a shallow water and you have a deep water, and you can that way you don't have to bundle all this rope up that's going to come untied because you don't know how to tie a sheep shank and all this other stuff. You can just literally just have 2 sets. Where did I get that from?
Yeah. I was able to teach Todd Manser something, which was pretty incredible.
I have so much gear in my storage. I have a 12 by 12 storage in my backyard, and it's almost all hoop gear. It's just all ProMar. And I have all your stuff in my storage.
That's what I was gonna say. At half of that stuff in there belongs to me because I moved to Cabo. But gang, I'm super excited about the lobster season. You know that my wife's caught the largest lobster ever caught in California. You know we're in it. We were the very first boat to ever take people lobster fishing for money back in 2006. No one had ever even heard of it before. Now everybody and their mother does it. There's 1 million guys doing it illegally. There's only a handful of guys doing it legally. Be careful when you get on a boat because it's your life. And Johnny Mac and Todd, they own 6-pack charter boats for years. They know what I'm talking about. There is a lot of shady people out there that are going to get you killed. Somebody will die this year lobster fishing. It's going to happen because there's so many shady people out there driving around. Right, John?
Oh, 100%. Guys that are drinking too much, guys that just don't have any idea of how to operate a boat or run a boat, especially in the dark. I mean, you absolutely got to pay attention and know exactly what you're doing and be cautious, be careful out there.
Yeah.
And we got charter boat availability in San Diego with Captain Al Clowers. We got Pablo in Mission Bay, and we got Justin up in Long Beach. And I'll tell you what, look at their prices and then look at the other people's price. If they're cheaper than us, then they're illegal. Period. End of story. Sorry, I can't sugarcoat it anymore. And if your life is worth saving $100 to go hooping, good for you. Mine's not. Mine's worth a lot more than $100. So play the tape all the way through. Do you want to go with the scumbag loser thieves, or do you want to go on a boat that's inspected, got a captain with a real captain's license, got real life jackets and real life saving abilities? And then tomorrow night, we're going to do our first live hoop net trip of the year. And last year we did, I don't know, 40 some of them. Justin caught 2,165 legal lobsters on the live show last year. And we had millions of views, and you guys are going to get to watch it tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in on Facebook or YouTube. I don't know exactly what time he's going to go live, but we're going live tomorrow night. We got the 5 HD cameras on the boat. We got Starlink, and he'll be at Catalina, and it'll be spectacular. So make sure you tune into that, gang. And then let's get back into this yacht. So something I wanted to say, John, about when you were talking about the smaller boats and this and that. So many of your owners on these bigger boats are always looking for a small boat to cruise around with them. They're always looking. So, gang, don't not call Todd or John just because your boat's under 30 feet. They may go, oh, my God, out of nowhere, you just called him, and John's all, yes, I got the guy that wants your boat right now. So don't think just because your boat's not $1 million, these guys want your boat.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and I want to point out a couple things for everybody too, because I get this question a lot on how it works. People are always asking, so how does it work? I want to buy a boat through you. I want you to help me buy a boat. What we do is John and I, and I got to hand John, the hat on this a lot, because he is tremendously good at searching for boats. So there's two ways that we help our clients buy a boat for the buyers. One is that they're looking, and they're going to find things on Yacht World or Boat Trader or somewhere in social media, and then they're going to say, hey, what do you think of this? And then John and I are going to go, and we're going to be able to see that through a different lens through the MLS. We'll be able to see how many days that boat's been for sale. We'll get a little more depth in the information. And then if we do find something that you want to go look at, whether we find it from our searches or something that you found, we go and we view the boat. We take a look at the boat. And, what a lot of people don't understand is in that first viewing, we don't have any legal rights to start it, drive it, take it away from the dock, fire up things. This is a viewing. And so by hiring Johnny and I, we're going to go down there and we're going to look at this boat to the best we can and see if this is worthy in moving forward. So moving forward means that we're going to put an offer in on this boat, and that then we'll go to the seller. If the seller accepts, it'll then be in contract, and from there we'll have a time period to where we can get surveys done, and then possibly ask for some allowances, and then move forward from there. But once we're in contract and we have a deposit on the boat, now we get to go in with the surveyors, and we get to go in with the people that you choose, or if you want our help, we can help you find the right surveyors. We have some absolutely amazing surveyors here in Southern California. Many of you know them. But at that time, now we get to fire everything up. We get to run all the systems. We get to take the boat on sea trial. We get to really see this boat operate. And from there, then it takes a couple days to get everything back. We can analyze the surveys. And then what Johnny and I have done, and we've gotten a lot of great reviews back from our clients on this, is we break everything down into a spreadsheet. Johnny taught me how to do this, and it's amazing. We take that survey and we run red, yellow, and green. Green being the least, important, and red being red flag. This is a safety issue. This has to be addressed. We itemize everything, and then we find estimates on everything, and then we break everything down so that you know from the survey what you might be looking at in the purchase of this boat, in possible repairs and upgrades. And it really helps the buyer understand what they're getting into. And then at that point, then we either ask for allowances or we move forward with final acceptance and we start closing the deal. If it's going to be put into an LLC and the boat isn't already a single asset of an LLC, we have great representation with maritime lawyers that we use to help move that process along as quickly as possible and get that boat put into either an LLC or just to transfer the title or the documentation. People ask me all the time, how come there's no CF numbers on that boat? Well, we have documented vessels, and then we have California registered vessels. And we have the representation that takes care of all that in the end. And that's basically how it breaks down. John, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, no, that's really it. But it can become much more complex than that, and
right.
Like we have a deal right now on a Michelson 43 that's it's been kind of challenging in some respects, and but we've navigated through it all, and we're covering both the buyer and the seller, so we got both sides, and we're controlling this, and we're fair to both sides, and it's I think everybody's really happy, and we just keep moving forward. And so, cross the T's, dot the I's. There's a ton of due diligence when it comes to purchasing boats, and we want to go through all of that so that you don't have problems after the fact.
Right. And again, it goes back to communication. Other, and I don't want to speak for other brokers, but I know how Johnny and I work. We work very quickly to communicate with you, to get responses and answers as fast as we can to move forward, so we stay in compliance with our timelines while still providing the right information through surveys and sea trials and allowances. And we really work hard to make sure that it's fair for everybody, because at the end of the day, we want this to be a special experience for you. This is an investment, and it's going to be a special part of your life, and we want you walking away happy.
And Johnny, this is for you. And Todd, take a break for a minute. Let John talk. So here's something that when I was selling yachts that it blew their minds. We would get on someone's boat. You can make the couches and the beds look super pretty. You can clean the showers. You can do all that before we get there and make that look pretty. What used to blow the salespeople's minds when I would get there, I'm going straight. First thing I'm doing, I'm going straight to the lazarette. I'm opening 100%. The lazarette compartment. I'm looking in there. That's going to tell me in a second the whole story. I know immediately when I look in that lazarette compartment if this boat's been maintained or not. Then we'll go to the engine room, and we're not going down the center. We're going to the left side, the right side, or port and starboard, whatever you want to call it. That's what you want to look for. Johnny, help me out on this, because so many people that want to buy a boat, they're like, look at how pretty the couch is. Look at the drapes. That has got nothing to do with nothing. You can replace that stuff for less than $5,000. But when you get down that lazarette compartment, right, John? Todd, take a deep breath.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things with us fixing boats, running boats and fixing boats for the last 40 plus years, we know what needs to be done. And those are the first places that we look. And I'm just like you, Dave. And I know Todd's exactly the same way as well. We go right to the lazarettes. We go right to the engine rooms. We pull, as a salesman, right, we pull all the floorboards. We look in the places that a normal average salesman wouldn't look, because he doesn't, number one, he doesn't really know what he's looking at. Number two, he doesn't want to disclose any of that stuff. He wants you to like the boat, buy it, and deal with it later. We don't play by those rules. So number one, we want to make sure we identify the style and type of boat that a customer likes. Once we do that, then we specifically look for at each and every one of those boats. Let's just say a guy likes a Bertram 46, and that's what he wants. We'll identify that. Then we're going to go look at every one of those boats and identify which are the best couple to go see. Then we'll go see those, and then we're going to go through each boat, head from bow to stern, bridge to the bilges, the whole bit, and we're going to go through the whole boat and make sure that it's the right boat. It passes our inspections, and if it passes our inspections, we know it'll be good for them. Because at the end of the day, these people become part of our family, and when they decide to sell that boat or they decide to upgrade, we want them calling us. We don't want them to say, "I don't want to deal with those guys. Those guys didn't take good care of me." And we hear that time and time and time again from other brokerage. The other brokers just don't. They don't put in the time.
And if you want to find out more about McCarty Yachts, there's the QR code. You can go over there. But Todd and I are going to tell a special story right now. That's why I wanted you to wait, Todd. Just waited a second. Todd called me up, I don't know, 2 months ago, and he said, "Hey, one of my clients wants this boat that's down in Los Barillas. Go check. Can you check it out for me?" And I'm all, "For you, absolutely. It's a 2-hour drive one way from my house to go over there, but it's Todd. I'm going to go look." He said the guy's telling him the boat's pristine, and I'm like, "Oh, it's in Mexico and it's pristine? I don't think so." And I went over there, gang, and they were there, and they had the interior looking all pretty, and they had some air deodorizers in there and all that stuff. I saw all that, but I didn't go anywhere but the lazarette. And I was in the lazarette looking around, and I called Todd. I said, "Here comes some pictures of the lazarette." And that was that. Next thing you know, Todd called the guy up and says, "We don't want," but I went through the whole boat. Like John said, I opened every hatch, everything. There was so much water and filth and garbage in the bilge. You were just blown away. Todd sent that to us. How happy was the guy when you sent him all that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was even still number 2 in the toilet. I couldn't believe that was that. And then they'd ripped the windlass out and loaned it to another boat, is what he told me. "No, we're just loaning it to another boat." I'm like, "You guys, this thing's been out for a long time."
It was so funny because they had the cat head sitting on the deck, and I was like, but the spring was broken, and I was like, "Huh." I opened up the hatch. I went, "There's nothing. There's no motor."
It's a decoy.
That's crazy.
But that's what you get with McCarty Yacht Sales. That's what you get. You hide the ball, no baloney, because Todd and John are going to answer your call when you buy the boat. They're going to go, "Todd, why didn't you tell us there wasn't an anchor winch?"
We're still trying to find him a boat. We had a boat that looked absolutely great. I mean, it showed really well, but it was it had a lot of issues when we got through survey, and he thanked John and I for having such great representation. We had Bunker Hill come with us and survey that boat, and Bunker did just an outstanding job. I love Bunker. I consider him a friend and a pillar of our industry, a cornerstone, really. It just didn't work out. But those are some of the risks that you take. We might have great curb appeal, and John and I might be able to go through a boat and look at a lot of things. And sometimes, there's a great, looking boat, but once you start firing it up, and that's where we get into that we're in contract. We've made a deposit. Now we get our surveyors on there. Let's get the surveyors, the mechanical surveyors, and the hull surveyors on there, and let's find out what this boat's all about. Now, it's still a good boat, and for some money, it could have been fixed, but we can find you another boat without having to put all that money into that project. And so we're still looking, but sometimes it takes time to find the exact right boat when they're looking for a specific boat.
Absolutely. And that's why you always want to have a salesperson or a brokerage house involved when you're spending your hard-earned money, because they'll expose all the things that you don't think about.
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
that's why people always ask me, why do they get that 10%? What is that? That represents experience.
Yeah.
I know you don't get that at a lot of places, a lot of brokerage houses, but here at McCarty Yacht Sales, you absolutely are buying that experience and the follow-up and the Mansa Marine part of the thing and the whole thing. Everything matters, especially when we're spending our money. When you're spending someone else's money, maybe it doesn't matter that much, but when you're spending your money, you want to have the most backup you can possibly have. And buying a boat is a big, giant investment. And to have these guys working for you behind the scenes is going to save you so much money in the long run. Like John said earlier, buying the boat's the easy part. Now comes the hard part.
Right.
How do I keep it looking this bitchin'? How do I get everything working? And another thing you guys do, because let's be honest, there are no docks in California. So these guys have the ins and the outs with some different ways to get you a dock, which is super crucial in this industry right now, is to find somewhere to park your boat.
Yep. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because John. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was just going to say that's absolutely correct. And you know, you touched base on slips, and slips are a real problem these days. And we do have connections, and we think about that when we're actually in contract. We always represent our buyers with the utmost respect, and we always try to find them a place to put their boat, because you know there's guys that buy boats and then all of a sudden they're like, well, okay, I got to move. Where am I moving to? And they don't know where to go. They don't know how to find a spot. And so we hold your hand through all of that whole entire process. We hold your hand through all of that.
Yeah.
It's a great point, Dave. It's very, very true.
And that's what comes with experience that these two gentlemen have, gang, is they have the ins and the outs. John's been selling yachts for so long that he knows the guy that just sold his yacht that has a house with a dock in the back of it that's more than willing to rent it out. But nobody else has that contact. Nobody else knows that guy. And they have a plethora of ideas like that. So reach out to them. Check out the website. These guys, this is not the last time John and Todd are going to be on the show. And they're a big sponsor of our live shows. So you're going to see stuff from them every night on the live Hoop Net and Trips. You're going to see a lot of stuff. And they are an official sponsor of your Saltwater Guide, which is, I am pretty stoked to have you guys on board. So thank both of you very much for supporting your Saltwater Guide.
Absolutely. We're proud, Dave. This is a great relationship. And we're thankful for everything that you do in supporting McCarty Yacht Group, Mansa Marine, and your Saltwater Guide. I tell every time I post, make sure you are a member and following your Saltwater Guide, because there's so much opportunity there for every angler, for every boater. It's a wealth of knowledge, and I don't even know how many times you've been on live and on Facebook and the archives. There's always got to be something informative, funny, interesting. It's just a great platform. Thank you for that, Dave.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah,
Thank you, John.
100%.
Think about this.
Yep.
Think about this, gang. I've been doing this show now live for 5 years, 5 days a week.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I mean, if you look back at the beginning of our careers some 40 years ago, right? Everything was so secretive. Nobody talked. We had our little code groups, whether it was tournament fishing, which I know we were all involved in the same code groups. If it was charter boat fishing, we were in the same code groups, and we helped each other, and we were all successful because of that. To have somebody with your knowledge and the experience that you have to come to give all of this to somebody is incredible. And I mean, I'm blown away by the amount of content that's here. I mean, you have dedicated yourself to this industry and to everybody that's a part of your membership. And I mean, it's worth every dime and then some. It's a great experience, great product that you have provided. Great experience for people. They're going to learn, and and they're going to go fish, learn from you, and they're going to go fishing. They're going to be successful.
Thank you so much for the kind words, John, Todd. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Unfortunately, it's already been an hour. I told you guys you'll be blown away at how fast this goes by. Jeanette, you've summed it up perfect. Todd will come to San Diego. Todd will go here. Todd will go there. John answers his phone. You give him a call. Let him know what you're looking for. Todd's super busy, but John's just as busy, but these guys still take the time to talk to you on the telephone. So take advantage of that opportunity, gang. And then if you do spend a bunch of time with these guys and then you do decide to buy a boat from someone else, I just want you to understand, it hurts our feelings tremendously. You guys have no idea. We're going to give you bend over backwards, and then we spend months and weeks with you trying to find the right boat, and then you buy it from another brokerage house. It's devastating to our heart. It hurts really bad. That's why I left selling yachts, because I couldn't handle that when I'd spend all that time and talk them into the right boat and do everything, and then they turn around and buy it from a different brokerage house. So just remember, you're going to pay that 10, no matter what the other lying brokerage house told you, you're still paying the 10. It's getting paid whether you want to believe it or not. So don't buy into the baloney. Stay with McCarty Yacht Sales, because their integrity is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Dave. And quite honestly, the seller is paying the 10%. So all you buyers out there, you got us for free. Give us a call. We're going to do the work for you. Do the work for you.
Yeah, it used to blow my mind, John, when they go, well, they told me that they're going to pay this. I'm like, they lied.
Yeah.
Flat out lied to you, bro. I spent all my time with you. So just remember that, gang. This is very personal to John and Todd and I. This is our life. We're going to do everything to help you. But remember, that sale of that boat is going to be a life-changing amount for Todd and John. It's going to absolutely change what their kids wear, what they eat. It absolutely does. So understand, we're giving our heart and our soul when we're helping you find the right boat. So just remember that at the end of the day, when you go and buy it from someone else, that's devastating to us. I don't know how John and Todd still do it, because it tore my heart apart. I had to quit.
Oh, we've had a couple already, where they show no loyalty. They come to us and we show them a few things, and then they go to the next guy, and you just kind of have to shake it off, and hope they come back. But John and I are loyal, and we love loyalty, and if you show us some appreciation through loyalty, you're going to get it back tenfold.
Absolutely.
Let us be your representative. If you ask us for representation, we are going to represent you with every ounce of honesty we possibly can have. And that's just the way we are.
Yep. And then we're going to leave you guys with that. Elliot, thank you for producing a phenomenal show as usual. I love you, buddy. Thank you very much. Todd, John, thanks for being a part of the show. We're going to end it now. Everybody's got to get back to work, and I can't afford to pay Elliot overtime today. I spent too